Yeah, I was in Philly Phil's live and lost track of time. Hey, Star. I was listening to her talk about Dr. Umar. She's really interested in that content. I don't know. I hope everybody's doing well. I won't be here long. I just wanted to come in and talk for a minute. Just say hey to everybody and let everybody know all is well. A girl is fine. I've been checking out the content. I watched CMA and Chubbs and so many people I've been watching. I've been really into the church commentary here lately. I know you guys probably don't care, but the church commentary. Hey Krista, the church commentary is so interesting because it's just like, hey chatting, is just like this sector. Y'all, they be doxing. The preacher done revenge porn. I'm not lying. The preacher done revenge porn on his mistress. Well, not his mistress. Okay, so let me tell y'all how it happened. So it's this pastor I plan on doing some commentary on. And I've been so engulfed in everything that they've been, talking about. It's really interesting. So it's this pastor. He's actually from Africa, but he preaches here in the United States. He's a U.S. resident now. He preaches in the United States. He has a mega church. He's a multimillionaire. Y'all, he's engulfed in a lawsuit former with his former co-pastor, somebody that he called son. They were very close. It is so ironically Shakespearean and so ironically deja vu. And I hope that y'all can understand where I'm going with that instead of like really going into detail. But it's so deja vu as to what I'm seeing like all over YouTube. And it's kind of like everybody's beefing, everybody's doxing, everybody. And it's, ooh, when it comes to the Christians, though, and the church, it's heartbreaking because this is leadership. You know what I'm saying? And they lead people. Shout out to Vaughn. She got baptized yesterday. Yes, yesterday, because it's 12:20. So shout out to Vaughn. I see you got the white swim cap because I was talking to her before her baptism and she was saying she went out and she got her own like little purple swim cap, but I saw her pictures and stuff and she's in all white. She looked beautiful. She really did. I'm happy for her. And I was talking to her. I hope she doesn't mind me talking a little bit about what we talked about, but she was talking about, how excited she was. Like you could literally hear it. And I'm not lying to y'all. You could hear it in her voice. She was excited about it. And I got a little lump in my throat because I told her, I said, Vaughn, because I remember being that person. You know what I'm saying? Being excited about salvation and being excited about Christ's message, his message to the world, you know? I remember that. I remember that feeling like when you get, I hate to say dunked because it's not dunked. It's kind of like when you get laid in that water and you come up and it does feel, it's like this feeling of, euphoria. And I was telling her about that. I was also telling her, like, I believed her walk. I believe her path. And I told her, I said, In a little while, we won't see you. You won't be participating in any of the chats, and you probably won't even be watching this content, because when you are focused on the light, that's what you focused on. That's where you want to stay. You don't want to go into any dark rooms. You don't want to even be surrounded by anything that's not like what you're seeking, you know? Um, and that's what Christianity does for a lot of people. And that's what Christianity does for some people sometimes. And you go into church and you feel like the presence of God and you get these little goosebumps. Y'all know, y'all Christians know. You know how you feel when you're in the church and all of that music is playing and everybody's telling you each other how much they love each other, and then you gain knowledge. You gain knowledge. She was saying how she got a little irritated or something. I don't really know the details, but she was saying she felt like she didn't like when people told her, don't let anybody change your mind. And she said because her mind can't be changed, you know. Hey, Give Life. That's how you are feeling now. Yes, Krista. Yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people are over YouTube, but this is not the only sector of YouTube, though. That's what you have to understand. This is not the only sector, and there's positive things throughout, this red app. You just have to seek it if that's something if that's the direction that you want to go, and everybody should go in the direction that they want to go. I was talking to her, and she said, nobody can change my mind. She said, Vaughn is so smart. Vaughn is so smart. And she don't even give herself credit for it. She's so smart, and she's so open. You know what I mean? Like she'll tell you things like, even when it makes her look bad, that's what makes her, or even if people could think like it makes her look bad or something. I don't know. Y'all, it's late and I'm actually sleepy. But I want to talk about this for a second. So we were talking and stuff. And she says she just feels like she just wants to tell the truth about everything and like how she feels, but she don't want to hurt nobody. She just wants to get it off her chest. And I was like, well, now you can talk to God about it. You can open up to the Most High, and you can talk to the Most High about it and get your direction from the Most High. Because the reality of it is like, that's your real life. Like this app right here don't have nothing to do with God. It doesn't have anything to do with your salvation. It didn't save you. It didn't. This app, this red app right here, is not God. It can't control you unless you allow it to. No other man can't control you unless you're in the custody of the state or the city or the federal government or you've been abducted or something like that. But I'm talking about this app. No one can control your steps unless you allow them to. Nobody on this app can pull you and lock you up or, take away your. Y'all know where I'm going, what I'm saying. And nothing on this app should be feared, you know? And no other man should have power over you, your voice, how you use it. Nobody else should be able to tell you when to use it or when not to use it, what to say and what to do. So she said, I like talking to different people about their beliefs because she likes to get different perspectives. She was saying that it's still not going to change her beliefs or her perspective, but she likes to know about different things. That's how I am too. So I asked her this question, right? I asked her this question that my daddy asked me and I guess all of my family, like the question. And I remember from being a little girl, he used to always tell me this. Would you rather know a whole lot about a little or a little about a lot, right? And I'm not even going to give the answer. Y'all just think about that question yourself. Would you rather know a little about a lot or a lot about a little? And if you think about it, it's kind of biblical, you know? Would you rather know a whole lot about the Garden of Eden, where you're not really allowed to think for yourself? You know, you are controlled by somebody else and they're telling you what you can and cannot do, but they provide everything that you need to survive. It's just that you can't think for yourself. You can't have the knowledge, hmm the knowledge of good and evil. So it's kind of like telling you can't even get to know yourself. You can't even get to know yourself. And even me saying that to Vaughn and like the talk that we had, and she asked me so many questions, y'all. She asked me about my life. I told her, and I felt, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like after everything that happened, I didn't feel safe in conversation with Vaughn. But when I talked to her the last few weeks that I've been talking to her, I feel safe in conversation with Vaughn. Hey, Bam. I feel safe in conversation with her because I feel like what she's saying is real. So when she started asking me all of these questions, it was just kind of like the floodgates opened up. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, girl, after I got off the phone, I was like, bitch, you talked too much. Like, you really talked too much. And she was asking me about my life. She asked me, she said, UP, I got to ask you this question. Like little baby Christian, I got to ask you a question. And I was like, okay. She said, have you ever been baptized? just want to say thank you for being. Oh, Bam, you know I love you, girl. I want to tell you that people can say what they want to say about you because of who they know. I'm just glad I met you, like the Bam that you are today and the Bam that you're becoming. You know what I'm saying? I have so much respect for you, so much respect for your strength, your ability to ignore certain things. And even when you feel the need to pop off, like the knowledge that you know you have that right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because we was on the phone today. Bam was listening to me while I was buying grapes. Y'all, I bought a case of grapes today for $2. Hey, Sakina. I bought a case of grapes today. I was on the phone with Bam. We was just talking, chopping it up, laughing. We was talking about Vaughn. We was talking about so much stuff. Um, she was asking me about the kids and baby UP and everything. And it was just like a fun, like light conversation, right? And I was at the fruit market, the vegetable and fruit market, right? I'm gonna get back to Vaughn. Don't worry, I'm gonna get back to Vaughn because I gotta tell y'all some stuff. So Bam was like, "What you buying?" And I'm telling her, I said, "Girl, I'm at the fruit market." She was like, "Oh, is it like a farmer's market?" And she was like, "They got the best boiled peanuts." Bam, I'm just running my damn mouth about our conversation. But she said they got the best damn boiled peanuts. And I was like, "No, they don't." They do have like fresh peanuts and stuff out at the market that I go to, but they don't have any boiled peanuts. That's kind of like a southern thing. But she was asking me like what kind of grocery stores we had and did we have like a Winn-Dixie. I forget. Would you asked me about a Publix and something else, things that they have in the South that we don't have up here in the North. And I said, "Oh, Bam, like shit, they got a whole case of grapes for $2, y'all. I bought those are the best grapes, a whole case. I had bags and bags and bags of grapes, just bags and bags and bags. I put some in the freezer. I was giving some away, and they were all for $2, the whole case. I thought they was gonna be all moldy and stuff, and I went to looking through them. I'm like, these are beautiful. They were big and crunchy and really, really sweet. Yeah. So we were on the phone and she was saying she was tired, you know. You said you bought some and they was good. She was saying she was tired. I was like, yeah, I am too. I am too. Like, I mean, physically tired. Like we were both kind of talking about how tired we were and how, busy our weekends were and stuff like that. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm saying that to say because I listened to a live tonight that made me want to reach out to Bam and just inspire her or just motivate her, or like I posted on my community wall, like stay on your path, sis. Stay on your path because I know how you roll with me behind the scenes. I can't say anything about anybody else, but I know how you roll with me behind the scenes, and it ain't nothing like like being depicted out here. I can't stop that. I ain't saying no names and all of that stuff. I'm talking to Bam. So in case if anybody wonders who I'm talking to my friend Bam. That's it. That's it. That's the only person that I'm talking to. It's kind of like we all seem to be at a place of just like moving on and and just like being free, you know? And no matter how hard you try, it's going to be somebody there trying to pull you back. Don't let them do it. Pam said, can't bait the band. Lord. Mm-mm-mm. That's what I wanted to say to you, Bam. You know, that's all. So, anywho, our conversation wasn't even about YouTube. It was about our lives and just what we was going on. She was talking about, she told me she was getting ready to go to Walmart. I told her I had to go to Walmart, but I didn't want to go. I went to a whole nother grocery store because I didn't even want to go to Walmart after I left the fruit market, you know? So it's kind of like people, let me not even go there. Back to Vaughn. So Vaughn, she said, have you been baptized? I was like, yeah. She said, really? Like, she was so shocked. And I was like, yeah, I've been baptized twice, once as a child and once as an adult. But my mother reminded me, Vaughn, that I'd actually been baptized 3 times because I was christened as a baby. I remember my christening photo, and she showed me my christening photo again today. Well, yesterday, Palm Sunday. And she was like, you were christened as a baby. I said, oh yeah. I remember my little christening gown being in a little box. My mom and daddy's bedroom, and it was like this little box in the bedroom in their closet where they would keep like little keepsakes and stuff, family photos, the Bible. Our Bible wasn't out. It was in a box. Well, it was an old Bible from my grandfather, I guess. And it had all of these family members' names in it and stuff. She still has the Bible. Um it has like a lineage, like your history. So she asked me if I had been baptized, right? I told her, I said, yeah, was baptized as a child. And I shared with her that I actually taught Sunday school, y'all, for 3 years. At Unity Church. It was after I left the Shrine of the Black Madonna and I joined Unity. And I'm going to tell y'all this. I left the Shrine of the Black Madonna and I didn't know what church I was going to go to next. I didn't know like really what direction I was going to go in because, The Shrine of the Black Madonna, it was all about Pan-Africanism. It was all about, and I was so involved in that church. I was so involved. My daughter was involved. It was such an intense church. My daughter went to the school, you know, that they had their own school, and all of the kids in the church had, if you were a member of the church, your kids would go to that school too. So I learned things about the Bible that I never knew. Read the Bible, had to read the Bible, but didn't. There's a difference between reading the Bible and spitting out the words and reading the Bible and understanding the words, right? I see it's a little Bible beef sector starting over here. Mm, mm, mm. But I'm going to digress from that. Um, hey, Mika. So I went to that church. I'm not going to go into any like big details about the Shrine of the Black Madonna, but they believed that there was going to be a civil war, like a or like some sort of like it was going to be some sort of race war or something. My father thought like that too. That's why we had to, we learned how to shoot. I talked about that before. Like we learned how to shoot guns and stuff when we were little. My dad family had a cabin up north and all of that kind of stuff. I done told that story before. That's been a part of my life, right? But at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, they had this thing called Beulah Land. And when you tied into, like, you give into the church tithes, and then you tied into Beulah Land. Well, Beulah Land was like a farmland. Oh, and my family, oh my God, they thought it was a cult. They were like, you got your daughter going to the school, you in church all the time. And I was so freaking committed to it. They were like, you got your daughter going to school, you in church all the time. This is just, and I came from a Pentecostal family, right? Even my dad, who was a Black Panther, he was like, what the fuck is going on with you? What the fuck is going on with you? They were like, so then I got we had a renaming ceremony where you get an African name. Mm-hmm. Did y'all know, and this is factual, did y'all know before the Bible was rewritten and placed in English text where Westerners could understand it? Did y'all know that every single person in the Bible, including Jesus, had an African name or an Arabic name? Did y'all know that? Before it was rewritten by the Jews? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that the Garden of Eden wasn't even called the Garden of Eden? It was an African name. Did y'all know that? Is Beulah land important to the Black Madonna Church? Yes, Mika. Yes, it is. Beulah land is very important to the Pan Africanism. And the Shrine of the Black Madonna had churches basically all over the United States and in other countries too. So I learned a lot in that church. But it was still about separating, even though it was about Jesus and Mary being Black, and, you know, Africa being the home of Eden, even though it was all of that. And then we learned so much history. It was so, like, when I started, like, even talking to my mom and my dad about, like, how deep we went in the educational aspect of the Bible, I was telling my dad things and he was sitting there like, where is it? Show it to me. And I could show it to him in a book. And it was one of those, hey, Spencer, what you doing up this late? And yeah, I think every Christian, when you find your church and you feel like you're home, you know what I'm saying? Like you just feel like this is my home. And it taught from the Bible, but they also educated you about the history, the places. Do you know how it feels to be a Black person like in America who came from slavery and to gain the knowledge that everything in the book that everybody reads and takes as God's words came from Africa? And to know that Africa wasn't even called Africa. And that before the floods, that it was even a huger continent that included Saudi Arabia and parts of India and all of that stuff. It was one united piece of land. It was so fucking powerful to hear that. And then it's coming from a godly source. Knowledge of good and evil. And they taught about slavery in the church and taught about it was such an enlightening environment because you learned about things that, maybe history books glossed over, or even my father, who was a Black Panther, didn't even, we grew up in basically a Black power household, but to know that it was certain things that made you feel connected. Because being Black in America, there's a lot of times you just don't feel connected. You can't see God because oppression is all around you. And you see so much pain. And then you see so much ugly in the church too. Because the deeper that you get into the church, the deeper you get into the members. Mm-hmm. And you learn that the church is like the world. It's cliquey. They lie. They cheat with each other. I'm talking about when you just not a pew member. That's what I'm talking about. Because it's different for pew members. A lot of times pew members don't get the actual education about the inner workings of the leadership of the church. That's all I'm saying. Hold on, let me grab my water bottle. Yes. And Sister Bertha Jean is just, she's just as messy. Be telling everybody's business. Be sitting up judging everybody. And she got 2 sons in prison and a daughter on crack that used to hold. All of that stuff. But now they saved, sanctified, and holy. And they judging everybody else. Hallelujah. It's a mess. Hold on. Me and Vaughn, we got into a little debate. I'm going to get back to the whole church thing because we got into a little, it wasn't a debate. It was like she was questioning me, asking me questions, and I was giving her answers that were contradictory to what she is studying right now and what she believes. And she kept on asking questions. She was so strong and so steadfast in her position and everything that I said. I'm like, this girl has found her path. And it's not like you trying to discourage anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not, you can't, when somebody is on their path, and that's what I was telling her last night. I said, when you are on your path, can't no man take you off of it. Ain't no man stronger than God. There ain't one man on this planet because they ain't conscious enough. They can't even see him. They can't take you off your path. Your lack of faith is what takes you off of that. You're believing that a evil power or a deity or something that you fear or the devil or all of that stuff is more powerful than the Most High, the creator of all things. So afraid of everything. Fear. There is no fear in faith. None. Not an ounce of it. And can't nobody change your faith. Because when I was in the shrine of the Black Madonna, my own mother and father couldn't talk me out of it. My daughter couldn't talk me out of it. Nobody could talk me out of what I believed. Because that was my path. at that point in my life. God don't make no mistakes. None. God don't make no mistakes. Everything you go through is designed for you. It's designed to teach you something. It's designed to take you somewhere. Now, if you choose to follow that path of that lack of enlightenment, you know what I'm saying? That inability to understand that just like you don't want anybody telling you what path to go down, you don't have the right to tell anybody else what path to go down. Just like you can feel proud of what you believe in, the next person should be able to feel proud of what they believe in. Hey, Lou. Everybody's path wasn't the Shrine of the Black Madonna. So, why did I leave the Shrine of the Black Madonna? Because they believed in some things that I just didn't. The path, right? It was the education from the Shrine of the Black Madonna that God led me to. The education. And that was my salvation for that period of time. And that's where I needed to be. Because I needed to learn some things. Need to educate myself about some things. So when me and Vaughn were talking and she kept on asking questions, I said, she's on her path. I don't know where it's going to take her. She don't even know where it's going to take her. She just knows that she's on the right path, seeking the Most High. That's what she's doing. And that's the best feeling in the world. That's the best feeling in the world. And see, for me, I can't believe that that's not the best feeling in the world for a Muslim when they're seeking Allah. I can't believe that that's not the best feeling in the world for a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Jew or any other religion. Because everybody has their own path. And you could believe what you want to believe about, okay, well, you're not the chosen people because Jesus said da 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 da. Jesus was a Jew. He wasn't Christian. And Jesus didn't even like what the Jews were doing with religion. Baby, I'm telling y'all. So Vaughn was asking me questions, right? And I was giving her the answers that the way that I believed, right? And she was just listening. And I was talking, she was talking. I asked her a question. She asked me a question. She said, I like getting different perspectives. And she actually said it brought her closer to her own truth. And that's right where she should be, in her own truth. What's best for her. Nobody can talk you out of that. Nobody can change your mind if it's real. Especially not no fat, freckle-faced granny on YouTube. Fuck out of here. You weak in the flesh. If you think that's possible, your faith ain't real if that's possible. Like I said, my own parents couldn't talk me out of participating so heavily in the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Beulah Land, you can't take your family with you. You have to be married or they have to be your child. Like, I couldn't take any siblings and we're talking about the end of the world, right? I don't know, Armageddon or whatever. But only you can go, the faithful. Just the faithful. The believers. So it's kind of like the whole heaven thing. Say, I believe the same exact way that, Christian faith says that you're supposed to believe, depending on what Christian faith you are, because like I said, there's 45,000 denominations of Christianity. 45,000. And growing. And they all teach a different doctrine from the same Bible. Meaning that they have all interpreted it a different way. They're all Christians, though. Every single one of them use the Bible. 45,000 denominations? You mean to tell me, now this is what I'm asking everybody. Now this is one book, just one. It's not the Quran. It's not it's not other people's book. We're talking about the Bible. $45,000 different denominations. And who's the author of confusion? Who's the author of confusion? In each of those religions teaches that if you don't follow it my way, you don't get into heaven. And none of those other people have the right to feel the way that they feel. Because certain Christians feel this way. It's crazy. It's crazy. And y'all be getting mad too. I knew that I knew that you couldn't take your family to Beulah Land. I didn't think that Beulah Land was a real thing or like would ever really happen. And I guess that was my like admission to myself that I wasn't in that deep, not with the beliefs of the church as far as like everything. So I kind of, with that experience, ate the fish and spit out the bones. And I think that's what we all do with our faith. We kind of like, we focus on what makes us, feel okay about things. And then the things that don't make us feel okay, like the story of Job, we don't focus on that kind of stuff. We don't focus on the why would the father send his daughters out to be gang raped by a crowd of men and the angels come in the house and they're safe. We don't focus on those kind of things, right? We just focus on the good stuff about, or the wrath. Most of the Christians focus on the wrath. A lot of the Christians think that God is their personal weapon. Like they can just beat people up with God in the Bible, in the Word. And then they have the nerve to say that I can save you. What man can save another man? You're not God. And that's the thing that you're seeing in these, y'all. When I tell y'all, these churches, these pastors, they calling themselves prophets. Prophets. Do you hear me? They're calling themselves prophets. It's pastors out here saying that they've been preaching longer than Jesus. And Jesus can't. These are Christian churches talking about it is the arrogance and the entitlement and the weaponizing of the word. It's used as a weapon to scorn, to mock. I mean, y'all, I'm telling y'all, these pastors, I've been looking at it. These pastors been, I said it earlier in this live. They doing revenge porn on each other. They having affairs and babies and girlfriends is fighting on YouTube, fighting on social media, like having like keyboard wars and stuff like that, and doing live streams. This pastor that I was talking about, he had all of these women. These women think that this man is so powerful, y'all. These women believe that this man is so powerful that he can put a spell on them and cause them to have a fucking abortion. Like he can kill their unborn children with witchcraft, with his powers. And these are and I'm not lying, I'm not playing with y'all. If any of y'all know what I'm talking about, this man, Lovi Elias, is the pastor that I'm talking about. He's in a whole lawsuit. He's suing these people for defamation. They done kidnapped his kids and held them. One church, he said that one church, no, he didn't kidnap somebody's kids and held them at the church because he done fell out with another pastor and they doing YouTube videos, dragging each other and still preaching on Sunday in the pulpit. They showing each other's text messages. The girls is coming out here showing the text messages. The preacher is sending around the girls nudes to other women and stuff and other men in the church. These people they say this man has over 1 million members, registered members or something like that. More millions of followers on social media. And he's a multimillionaire. He's suing these pastors for $10 million. He's suing the girlfriend too. He's suing them for slander, defamation. They called him a voodoo witch or something like that. This stuff is crazy. And then you look at the world, and everybody is so judgmental. They are doing all of this stuff and still preaching to people and being so damn judgmental. You're supposed to be saving souls. And then the downright blatant profiting off of the members. They selling salvation. And this book is what? This faith is what? He's a shepherd leading his sheep to the cliff. Right, Mika? All of these people following these false prophets thinking they going up high. And they following them right to where they say that they don't want to go. And then they pointing the finger at everybody else. Then they pointing the finger at everybody else. You think that if what they say in the Bible is real, right? Do you think that's going to be one of God's chosen people? Maybe. Maybe. Especially from the God of the Bible. Maybe. They'll find a reason for that to make that right. They're going to find a reason, honey. Like, this man was in relationships with these women. Ooh. Y'all, they be threatening to kill each other. It's this female pastor, Tiffany. I think it's Tiffany Montgomery. I think I was saying something about her the other day. Tiffany Montgomery. She says you've been dignitized on this. She says this from the pulpit. She says she's a prophetess. She says that she has like conversations with God and she can tell God to kill people for her. Smite them for her, honey. She's a millionaire too. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers all over the world. Millions all over the world, they say. And hundreds of thousands of followers that pour into her ministry, buy her books, go to her seminars and her retreats and all of that shit, like, and pay thousands of dollars to do it. Baby. This woman, she says, I don't see why people have a problem with me saying dick from the pulpit. That's not a cuss word. She was like, you can let him run his dick up in you if you want to. She said this on the pulpit. I said, oh my. Look at what God is doing today. Like, for real? And then let's not even talk about these pastors that are taking advantage in other ways. Yeah, it's just so much. It's so much. And when I told y'all, I didn't lie. I said when I told y'all they have a whole beef sector, a biblical beef sector on YouTube with these content creators that have almost 1 million subscribers. They got gospel music artists that have YouTube channels. And we talking about major artists that have YouTube channels, and they are going back and forth with YouTube commentators. They are inviting these YouTube commentators to these gospel functions and award shows and parties and all kind of stuff. You got this guy, he got almost like 1.5 million subscribers, and I cannot remember all of these people's names. Y'all, I tell you, I've been in this damn sector, like watching everything. Everything. It is so fucking interesting. And so this guy, he has like a million and something subscribers, and he didn't got pictures. He done been to every church function, all of these mega churches. He done interviewed people. It's a lot going on YouTube. A lot going on YouTube. In this little bitty sector here. Why would anybody want to stay here if you don't have to? Honestly, like, why would you literally want to stay here and hear the same thing over and over and over again about the same old people running the same old place? And then you see all of these other people joining in, banding in. Now it's the church thing. And I mean, everybody talking about it's like this. It's like, damn. Now you know everybody's denomination. You know what church they go to. You know what they was like. Everybody's claiming and everybody doing the same damn thing. The same damn thing. Jamal Bryant is a sermon name. What's about? You said you was shocked at the title. Yeah. Y'all, they be dragging. You find out so much personal business about these celebrities. Hold on 1 second. I got to get my water bottle. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, yeah, why would you want to stay here? It's so much going on. I was thinking, like, how many, I'm not playing with y'all when I say this. I was thinking about how many years I done heard people talk about Adrian and say the same fucking thing. It's the same shit over and over and over and over again. It's the same stuff. Just new dudes. He says, is weaponizing religion the same thing as using God's name in vain? Yes. Yeah, weaponizing religion is the same thing as using God's name in vain. God ain't gonna smite nobody for you. You ain't no closer to God than the next man. That's asinine to think that. Like, that is asinine to think that God would create this whole, and the Bible doesn't say God created heaven. I get so tired of people like, oh, like even just misquoting the Bible and trying to make it work for God created the heavens, plural, not singular. God created heavens, heavens and the earth, universes, galaxies. You're so self-absorbed. You think you're the only one. And you think that one book is the answer for everybody. It's sad. You get a judgment. He said, you are talking about people never said a word about God. Yeah. People that never said a word about God are now hollering, God, God, God. And then you're finding out how everybody feels. And what's so funny about it is that everybody has a right to feel the way that they feel. They just don't have a right to force it on somebody else. They don't have the right to force it on somebody else. Just like you're entitled to your Christianity, somebody else is entitled to their Islam. Like, just like you're entitled to, like, it's your right to believe what you want to believe. Go where you want to go and do what you want to do. That's your right. That's your God-given right. This is my question to people today. Like, how do you know you the chosen person? You the chosen people. How do you know? Because you believe in Jesus Christ and that Jesus Christ died for your sins. I believe in Jesus Christ too. I've been baptized. I believe in God. What makes you any better than anybody else? Because they just say they don't believe in some of the things that you believe in. They don't believe in a book as it being the word of God when it was rewritten by so many men. I didn't see anywhere in the Bible. Did y'all see anywhere in the Bible? Hey Shadow, I'm just asking y'all a question. Maybe somebody in the bushes might hop down. Hey, is Urban up there anywhere? Maybe not. Or Mimi, are you up there anywhere? Like, are either one of y'all listening? Where in the Bible did it say Jesus said you have to believe in the Bible? The Bible was written thousands of years after Jesus left here. The you know what? Mm, mm, mm. Where in the Bible does it say you have to believe in the Bible? Where in the Bible does it say you have to be a Christian? Like, I want to know. That's what I want to know. That's why the Bible is so, how do I say it? So malleable. Not in the religion is personal. Yeah. Well, religion is man-made. Spirituality is personal. Religion is man-made. Religion is cold and judging, and it separates. Why would a God that was designed to bring people together create something that separates? That's all I'm asking. Why would a God that you guys say, Christians say, you know, he loves everyone equally, but he has a chosen people, and I'm one of them, and you're a piece of shit, and you're the devil, and you're this and you're that. Like, Where did the Bible say you have to believe in the Bible? I'm giving you more work. I'm sorry, Shadow. I definitely don't want to give you more work. I just have so many questions. This has always been a huge question on my mind. And I've asked this question to multiple religious teachers, even when I was in the shrine, when I was at Unity. I think every church that I've gone to, I've asked this question. So I'm going to ask this question to YouTube, and maybe somebody will hear me. Maybe it'll reach more people than I could ever reach just in my personal life. I touched on the story of Job, right? You know, and me and Urban, we talked about it and kicked it back and forth. But Urban asked me a question, and I kind of brushed it off because I didn't want to go into it because it was such a good conversation. It was myself and Urban and Mimi, and we were all up there, and it was just kind of like we were having a conversation. And it wasn't forced, and it wasn't planned, and it wasn't nothing snaky. It was just real, right? We were actually having a conversation about the Bible, right? But we were also talking about the story of Job. And Urban, he was like, yeah, but UP, remember when Job, he gave a little kickback. And I was like, yeah. And I brushed over it because I didn't want to ruin the conversation that we were already having because I had my own opinion about things, right? And it's been this burning question. And I should do a whole live about this. But I wonder if anybody, even in the chat, can answer it for me. So in the story of Job, so Urban talked, Urban said, and I said, yeah. And then, God came back and chastised Job and blah, 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 blah. And Urban was like, yeah, yeah. So Urban read the story and understood it and clearly thought about it. And he's no longer Christian, right? It's certain things that you question. I don't know what Urban's reason for his change of heart or whatever. I don't know. It's not my business either. I don't think I've heard anybody ever ask though. If I did, I don't remember. But in the story of Job, Job was suffering, we already talked about it in the other live. And somebody even came in my comment section and they said, at least make God's name capitalize the G, the O, and the D. At least you could be respectful and I don't know it verbatim. I'm sure you're listening now. And I hearted the comment because when I was really, really in the religion like that, I felt that way too. I felt that way about everything. Everything about God was like it's mine, or like it should be respected. You should be denying it. I was the same way. So I hearted your comment because I understand where you're coming from because I've been there. Understand it and respect it. You're not going to change me, and I'm not trying to change you. I just don't feel the same way anymore. Not that God shouldn't be respected. It's just the God of the Bible is not the way I see God. And that fear of God and all of that reverence and all of that symbolism and ideology and all of that weird stuff about God, I don't have those feelings about God. I don't fear a devil. I don't even believe in a devil. I believe in spiritual duality. I don't believe in a devil. I believe we are all good and evil. That there's two sides and it's nature. I believe it's natural. You know what I'm saying? Put into us instinctually to protect us. Because if you all good and it's just evil people out here, or even people out here that are good and evil, you won't even defend yourself. It wouldn't be no war. Or it would be war, and you be the victim of it all the fucking time, right? Everything that's in the Bible is still happening today. Everything. War, famine, plagues, fires, fire from the sky, lightning strikes, floods. Everything that happened in the Bible still takes lives. Katrina, hurricanes, dead bodies floating in the water. Everything. But we're supposed to change. And we're supposed to suffer here and like bend the knee to this God that expects us to change when nature, i.e., God, put things into us instinctually so we could survive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And man, being of its own free will, which God put into us, makes decisions on their own. Some good, some bad, i.e., some people are just good, Mother Teresa's or whatever, but nobody is all the way good. Nobody. Not one person on the planet is perfect. Not a one. Not a one. And thank God we have far less orchestrators of war. But that's changing. War is becoming commonplace again. Mm-hmm. Weather patterns are changing again. Yep. I was listening to Nunu and he was like, I know the end is coming. I know the end is coming. Yep. And man is forcing us there. Mm-hmm. Becoming so focused on money that you don't even really care about what happens to the country. Obama sets up, the checks for y'all to get. What was those checks called? Because I didn't get one. Stimulus. Obama sets up the plan while he was in office, right? Most people who actually pay attention to politics and pay attention to how things really happen, they know that. They know it. So Obama sets everything up while he's in office. Trump comes in and he takes credit for it. Motherfuckers say, I want Trump back because he gave us the stimulus checks. No, Obama gave you the stimulus checks. Trump just took credit for it. And y'all want him back because y'all think that Trump gonna put some money in your pocket and he about to take you to war. On your own land this time. You won't just be bombing in other people's countries and fucking other people's countries up. Bombs are going to actually hit U.S. soil. The most powerful nation in the world has become a laughingstock. Shit has shifted. And motherfuckers around here arguing on motherfucking YouTube every day and not paying attention to what the fuck is going on around you. Now it's about God. Is God gonna stop the tariffs? Is Jesus gonna stop the tariffs? Is anybody gonna help us? Because we have one of the dumbest presidents in the history of creation. We have one of the dumbest people in the White House in the history of creation, and he holds he holds the motherfucking nuclear code. And he's fucking senile. He's fucking turned on every fucking ally that we have. And this motherfucker can't even get people. What army would we have? If motherfuckers bombed us today or tomorrow, who gonna come help us? Shit, not even our closest ally now. From what I understand, if Trump keep on going the way that he's going, goddamn Canada gonna allow Russia to march through there. Y'all better stop playing. We sitting on you. Girl, I cannot. And it's all of this stuff is happening. War. What ended planets before? War, floods, famines, and plagues. Who did it then? Oh, they said God in the Bible. Well, man is doing it today. I just think it's just history repeating itself. But y'all can believe y'all biblical stuff if you want to. I don't know how the same thing could be happening today that happened in the Bible over and over and over and over again. And it's happening over and over and over again right in our faces. And hallelujah. All the preachers are worried about are filling their fucking pockets and buying goddamn airplanes and fucking on multiple bitches in the church. And we're supposed to have respect for this religion thing? Man. The God I know is like, I ain't done none of that shit. That's all them. How does somebody give you free will and then try to control it? With religion. How does God create man and give them free will and then put devices on this planet to control that free will? You got to act this way. You got to move this way. You got to pray this way. You got to walk this way. You got to dance this way. You got to talk. How in the world? What? How? Mm. Mm, mm, mm. I'm sorry, y'all. You said we still have support. We don't have no support. Man. Man. This man said he wants slavery wants, he wants slavery erased from national history museums. You mean to tell me we ain't never in the history of man, and it's all through biblical teachings, that you had tyrants just like Trump throughout history that changed the course of the planet or changed the course of the areas that they ruled? But see, it's a strange thing, especially as connected as we are, when the areas that you rule and the most powerful nation in the land becomes a laughing stock. A nation that was supposed to be, that was actually built on slavery, but preaches democracy. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a whole mirage in itself, this nation. Oh, we were built off the backs of, Native Americans and Africans. Slavery. It's telling me to renew my subscription to the antivirus. That was that little ding. How did I get on Trump? Because the evangelicals helped him get in. That's how I got on Trump. The evangelicals helped him get in. They spearheaded his campaign. Do you know his spiritual advisor used to advise Michael Jackson? Did y'all know that? That she was actually Michael Jackson's spiritual advisor for a time. Some freaky shit. Donald Trump is a fucking television personality who had a show called The Apprentice, and he's a fucking rapist. It's a rapist. If this shit ain't biblical, I don't know what it is, y'all. It's a rapist in the White House. I mean, a known rapist in the White House. A tax evader, a bigot, a racist, a sexist, a fucking idiot. And they gave him the keys to the world. No, wait a minute. Elon Musk and his computer hackers got in here and made Donald Trump the fucking president of the United States. Right in our faces. Right in our faces. And this shit ain't biblical. This gonna be in somebody's book. In your next life, Donald Trump gonna be Jesus. Or some shit like that. And the Bible that you know ain't even gonna be existent no more. The laws that you know, that's how it's gonna be. That's how this history thing goes. Baby, kings rewrote history. They rewrote books in order to suit their narrative. They got rid of books. They got rid of so much scriptural writing. But, I'm not even going to get into all of that. It's just crazy. Job, because I got off track. I went all the way down the rabbit hole, y'all. I went all the way down the rabbit hole, and I was talking about Job. I think the comment in the comment section kind of threw me off. Like, you can believe whatever you want to believe, honey. I don't have any problem with you, and I hope you don't have any problem with me. Okay? But Job, God asks Satan or the devil, whoever. Says some books say Satan, some books say the devil, right? So God asks Satan, who are you? Or where have you been? Or what have you been doing? Or something like that. And he says, I've been walking the earth to and fro, looking, searching. And God says, have you considered my servant Job? He offers him up. Satan didn't go up there and ask God, can I have Job? God offers Job up. Okay, so I'm going to get to the question when I tell a little bit more of the story. I hope y'all listening, because this is very, very interesting. It's the scripture in the Bible that made me say, I cannot believe in this book anymore. That's the whole reason I started with Job. So, and I'm not a Bible scholar. So I want y'all to please just listen to what I'm saying. I'm not a scholar. I don't know the Bible like that. And I own that. I don't. Mm-mm. I have to search scripture just like most of the Christians that quote scripture every day. I have to do the same thing. So, but the story of Job has been like this story that has always stuck in my head because of the thing that God said. God. So the devil says to Job, yeah, you could say, the devil says to God, yeah, you could say that Job is faithful because you've put a hedge of protection around him. Like, if you let me let loose on him, basically, he's not going to worship you. He's not going to praise you. He's going to curse you to your face, basically. God said, no, not Job. I know what Job is going to do, right? So the devil says, no, he's going to curse you to your face. And God says, then I'll give him to you, basically. You can test him. You can do anything that you want to do to him. You just can't take his life. You can't hurt him. So the devil said, okay, bet. He went down. He took all of Job's wealth, all of his servants, the story, and he took his children. And Job stayed faithful. He didn't curse God. He fell to his knees. He said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. After God had taken everything from him but his health, he still had his wife. But she didn't love the Lord anymore. She wanted Job to basically curse the Lord. She was like, I'm done with it. Like, he done took too much, you know. And she wanted her husband, to turn on his faith, and he still wouldn't. He wouldn't, you know. So then the devil goes back up to heaven like this. He just got this, the devil and God, like we talking like they homies or something. Because he riding with the Lord's angels, with God's angels. When he comes with God's angels. Are y'all listening to me? When the devil pulls up into heaven, he's coming in with God's angels. Both times. So he said, where you been? What you been doing? God said that to the devil. Where have you been? What you been doing? Y'all know I'm not giving it to you biblically because I'm not quoting it, by the scripture. I'm just telling y'all the story. So the devil say, I've been, messing with Job. been traveling the world to and fro. Or no, he says, I've been traveling the world to and fro, like looking for somebody else to mess with, right? And God said, well, have you considered my servant Job? Like, the devil had already taken everything away from Job, and even the devil had taken his eye off of Job. The devil. Because God said, what you been doing? What have you been doing? The devil said, I've been roaming the earth to and fro, looking for some shit to get into. And God says, have you considered my servant Job? The devil said, yeah, I wrecked this shit already. You know? And he says he's my most faithful, you know. He was like, yeah, but you still got that little hedge of protection around his health and around his body, and I can't fuck with his stuff. And God said, okay, I'll give you that too. Now the devil had pulled away from Job because he was like, all right, God ain't gonna give me nothing else. But God offered him up again. He said, you can test him again. Test Job again. This time take his health. But don't take his life. Now, the thing about that is, in Job's prayers, this is what a lot of people miss. In Job's prayers, he started praying to die. He wanted to leave this earth, the torment, the torture that the God that he trusted was putting him through. He would have rather been dead. And God knew it. Because God knows everything. So instead of giving Job what he wanted after taking so much from him, God said, he got to suffer some more. But why? Because Job was his most faithful servant, and this was the devil. So he tells the devil, you can take his health, but not his life. And the devil said, okay. Devil goes down, and Job is filled with illness and boils and all over his body, and from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. And he was the laughing stock of the community, and the people that used to look to him and trust him were laughing at him. The young men on the street was treating him like shit, like he was going through some shit. Devil came back because the devil, God gave the devil no second chance to not only take everything that Job had materially, everything that he loved emotionally, like his children, his wealth, his reputation, his health. So let's get into the part that I didn't talk about before. This is the part that really blew me, as if none of that other stuff didn't blow you. Like all of that other stuff that Job went through, right? Everything else that Job went through, it gets worse. So Job's 3 friends, they hear about what's happening to Job, and they want to go to him and provide prayer to him and counsel, and they want to sit with their friend. And then when they run up on them, they all come together, They posseed up. They go to check on Job, They pull up on Job. And Job laying on the ground and shit. They see him and they all, they pick up soil from the ground and they throw it over their heads and they all burst into tears and they tear their own robes. They're devastated to see their friend Job in his condition, once so proud and so strong, a man that they admired, and some say they even feared him a little bit, because of his close connection to God. That's going to be important. Remember that part, okay? So they run up to Job, but they don't say a word. For 7 days and 7 nights, they just sit there in silence. Job suffering, right? So then they get to talking after the 7th day. I can't remember what friend, but one of the friend pipes up and says Job's and ask him about his condition and yada, yada, yada. And Job say he don't know, why the Lord is doing this to him and blah, 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 blah. And that friend starts to chastise him and praise God and tell Job that he should be, appreciative, and he even kind of blames. I might be getting them mixed up, so y'all, Bible scholars and stuff like that, don't get upset with me. I'm just trying to give the gist of the story, right? So Job, he says, I don't know why God is doing this. So the friend says, basically telling Job, like, you sinned. Like you had to have done something, and your God is mad at you, and he's blaming Job for his own condition. And Job was like, no, I ain't never turned on God. I've never turned on God. And then Job slowly starts to clown God, And then the other friend chime in and he says, or maybe your kids were the sinners and blah, 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 blah. And Job bosses up and he was like, well, no, he was like, I was faithful. I never sinned. He said he paid his children's transitions. He talked about, how he would help the poor and how all of the wonderful things that he did. So then another friend chimes in and said, well, you're being boastful and God is this and God is that. And they, all three of the friends exalted God, praised God. Are y'all listening to me? All of the friends exalted God, praised God, and blamed Job for his condition. They talked about Job's loyalty to God and that he should be more fearful. And Job said, I am afraid of him, like his wrath, like who wouldn't be afraid of him? Job never expressed love for God. He only expressed fear. He only expressed fear. And the other friends, they said, you're wrong. God is love and God is this and he is wrath and he is this and that and he is, duality and it is fair and it is just and it is right and you're the one that's wrong, Job. And Job said, no, I was faithful. I was loyal and he basically raw dogging me. Job said he won't even let me sleep. Job say he coming to me in my dreams. I don't even get rest in my sleep. Torture is continuous. He says his nights look like the darkest nights, and his days look like the darkest of the darkest nights. In his dreams. And he said, you sent the devil after me. He said, God sent the devil after me. He won't even let me get rest in my sleep. He said, why the constant torture? What have I done? I haven't done anything to you, and I know it. And he said, and you know what? And God knows it too. And I'll be exalted one day. Basically saying, God knows he's wrong for this. And the friend said, Job, how dare you? Not fear is afraid of fear. Listen, Blue, listen to me. I got something to say. I'm glad you're here. Blue, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here because I need you here. So then Joe, the other friend, listen. So the friends is praising God and glorifying God and saying God, and Job is like, oh. Job said, I'll never forget this. He said, there is no healing for this. He said, I would rather be dead, and he knows it. He knows it. He said, I hate the day that I was born. I wish that I hadn't roamed the earth. Why then nobody deserves this pain? And I was nothing but loyal to God. Nothing but loyal. And why is he doing this to me? And the friends say, you proud and you this and you that and blah, 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 right? And then this young man steps in and he says, both of y'all are wrong. Or something like that. Y'all pay attention to what Blue is saying, because if she says something, she knows the scripture. I'm just telling y'all the way that I heard it. And I'm going to play it when I come back with the word, like from the King James Version, okay? So we can all hear it with our ears. Because I want y'all to hear this. But you're going to hear it in biblical terms, not my interpretation of what was said, right? Because this is my interpretation. This is my interpretation of the word of God. And that's why I'm saying that this religion has 45,000 different denominations, because everybody interprets the word differently, right? But I think I'm on the line of what Job was saying. Like Job was kind of like, no, God, basically in a fearful way of God, right? Now, the friends were like, no, there's a reason for that, and there's a reason for God's punishment, and it's meant to teach you a lesson. And Job was questioning everything. Absolutely everything that they were saying, he was questioning, but he was also praising the good that, in God, like still recognizing the gifts from God. See, Job was recognizing his duality, his belief in what is righteous and his disappointment in the things that are unjust. That's human nature. And I'm going to tell you it's human nature because God said so, even in his response to Job, right? So then the young man comes in. Hey, Rudy. Not here for, okay. Just, okay, all right. Okay, Blue, thank you. So I want y'all to listen to this. So then the young man comes in and he say, y'all both wrong. Job, you wrong for, basically clowning God, and you all of y'all are supposed to be wiser than me. I'm younger than all of y'all. And you wrong for questioning Job or criticizing Job and not providing him answers, only criticisms. Basically, if you're his friends, you would come here with some answers, not just praise for God, although God should be exalted, but you should have help for Job. And then God steps in and said, "Whoa, hold up, hold up, hold up. Nigga, I know you ain't having counsel without me here. I know you not having counsel without me here. Like, you talking about me with these people, my most faithful and loyal servant? What's this all about?" He said, "Wait a minute. Do you know who set the earth on this foundation? And do you know what made this animal do this? And God just went down a whole list of things like, do you know what I done? Do you not know what made that big old monster in the ocean that all of y'all scared of? And that big mammoth thing that runs around the earth and tramples on y'all? I don't know the names of them. I'm sorry, but I just remember the story. Like, not all of the names and all of the players. I just remember like the story, right? Because it was the story that was important. It was what God said that was the most important. It was what God said. So he goes to telling, Job what he should fear, and I bet you can't beat that monster in the ocean. And he says, who made the snow fall from the sky and traps the water, freezes the seas and turns them into blocks of stone, hard as mountains, and he just went down the list of all of the things that he created. And he said, I control everything below the heavens. Are y'all listening? The God of the Bible said to Job, I control everything below the heavens. And he says some other stuff. And then Job says, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Because, like, Job couldn't as man have any idea of all the things on the planet. And the God of the Bible was telling Job everything that was on the planet, Earth. Everything that he said he controlled. Earth. I control everything below the heavens. Right? So Job says, yeah, I believe you and I'm sorry. And, says a lot of other things, scripturally. And I apologize for not being scripturally correct. That's my apology. And I'm not trying to make fun of the Bible or make light of the Bible. I'm just presenting it the way that I interpret it and the way that I understand it. Okay? So Job says, now this is Old Testament, y'all. And the Old Testament doesn't matter. But the Old Testament, even though it doesn't matter, is still in the same book. And this book has 2 creation stories in it. 2. Duality. Like, thank you, Blue. So Job says, I'm sorry, blah, 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 and then God goes on to tell him more stuff that he's done. Like, do you know when to go give birth on the mountain and all of these things? And, who makes the waves and the oceans and does the lightning bolts come down to greet you and ask you where you want me to go and all that kind of stuff. It was really poetic. It was poetic. The way that the biblical God came down and talked to Job. And Job humbled himself, and he apologized to Job. And then he turns to the 3 friends. He said, I'm pissed at y'all. You came over here and you messed with my boy Job. Y'all came over here, supposed to be doing something good. You came over here, you messed with my boy Job. And then God said something. He says, because I'm mad at you, because you lied on me. Now, I want y'all to remember that the friends were exalting God, praising God, glorifying God, saying God was a good God, a fair God, an honest God. The 3 friends were saying all of the good stuff about God. Mm-hmm. And Job was criticizing and saying things that were not favorable to God, calling God wrathful and mean and evil and dark, expressing his ongoing fear of the wrath of God and admitting that a lot of the things that he did was out of fear. Mm-hmm. So God turns to the 3 friends. Like I said, they say you're going to give them your goats and you're going to give Job this and you're going to give Job that. But before God said all of that, God said to the 3 friends, you lied on me. You did not tell the truth about me. Job spoke truthfully of me. Therefore, you shall give Job this. You shall give Job that. I shall take this away from you. I shall take that away from you. Now, if you didn't miss what I just said, in your Bible, Christians, in your Bible, in the story of Job, God says to Job and his 3 friends that they were wrong in their praise for him. And Job was right in his criticism. And he restored Job. Now, if you call this restoration, that's fine for you, Christian. Because I don't really see it that way. See, because Job didn't really see it that way. The story of Job bluntly ends after they tell you that God gave Job 7 more boys to replace the 7 boys that he allowed Satan to murder, and 3 more girls to replace the 3 girls that he allowed Satan to murder. It goes on to say that Job lived a long life and died at around the age of 140. It doesn't say Job went on to praise the Lord or God, or it doesn't say any of that. It doesn't give any of that detail. And I'm not going to make any assumptions either. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm just going to go back to when God said to Job's 3 friends that you lied about your praise of me, and Job told the truth. God took everything away from Job. Job didn't ever speak of an ability to forgive God for what he had done. In fact, he spoke plainly and said that he didn't see any way that he could, no matter what. He talked of being restored, but he didn't talk about being happy about it. He just knew it was going to come because he knew he was the one being righteous. And he said God was the one that was doing him wrong. And he also mentioned that he believed that the real God would restore him. Y'all read the story for yourself. Or maybe I should do a reaction to it. What you say, God never answered Job's question. So, God never answered one of Job's questions. Not one. He only came down and told Job who he was. But God gave Job all the answers that he needed because Job told the truth about who God was. At least that's what God said. Now, I don't want no Christians getting mad at me. I don't want y'all to think that I'm trying to talk you against the church, because I'm talking about Bible. It's in the Bible. You can't tell me I'm talking you against the church, or I'm talking against the church, because I'm not talking against the Bible either. I'm talking about my interpretation of what I read and what I've heard for years and years and years. And no preacher that I've ever asked, and that's the reason I left the Shrine of the Black Madonna. That's the reason I left the church that I went to when I was Pentecostal. That's the reason that I've left church after church after church after church, is because you can't get answers to some of the most important questions that you have. Just answers. And it's kind of like people take it as an insult because you ask those questions, like you're trying to denounce their faith or something, or you're trying to talk down about their religion. If I'm in the same church and I'm in the same religion and I'm asking you questions, I'm not trying to talk down about it. I'm trying to gain that knowledge that the God of the Bible was trying to keep away from Adam and Eve. Why was knowledge a bad thing? If you only have knowledge of good, how are you going to see bad coming? It's so many questions that so many people have. And it's not that People are being forced away from religion or God or anything like that because of church trauma and all. That's not everybody's story. Some people's story is just they want that knowledge. And if you can't give it to me, then if I can't get the answers from you, I got to get them from somewhere else. And that's why people are seeking. So many people are seeking. So that's why I respect what Vaughn does. Because Vaughn doesn't, she's not going to cut you off because of your adverse opinion or your lack of belief in what she believes in, especially if you've been there, done that, or experienced it for yourself. And that's not even normal in new Christians. New Christians usually be so gun-ho, they don't want to hear nothing else, no other different idea or different. That's why I just say, like, if you don't want to push people away just from the knowledge of God, because that's the best knowledge to have to me. The knowledge of a higher power, the creator. And that's all good. So the question is, why did God say, I got to get to the question and see if anybody has the answer. He said, correct. God never answered him. That was always funny to me because I feel I asked, yes. Yes, and that's the thing. The thing is, it's like you're not wrong for asking questions. It's not demonic. It's not sinful. It's not evil. You're not the devil. It's not that. It's you are inquisitive. You want to know. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to know the truth and you want to know what's the reasons for the contradictions. What is the reasons for the contradictions? The thing about it is, slavery is a real thing. Slavery was real from the time of creation. It's biblical too. It's biblical. Like, that is real. Slavery of your mind is the only way that people can keep you in bondage. Because once you know that you're closer to the Most High than any other being on, listen, God did not give the devil dominion over this earth. God gave man dominion over this earth. Man. And we create the devil and give him power. Because even in the Bible, certain people who have certain knowledge, that's why I say when people say, oh, you don't believe it, I don't believe in the book. I believe in certain scriptures in the Bible. I believe that certain prophets had enlightenment that came and went, because enlightenment can come and go. I think that, like, when you read certain scriptures, like when you read the story of Jesus and you hear Jesus say, the church is within you. Heaven is within you. Everything is within you. Why aren't scriptures like that paid more attention to, and is so much power given to an outside force? A master. A master. Somebody to lead you. And lead you where? Because this world ain't doing nothing but repeating over and over again, like the fucking Matrix. The fucking Matrix. That's why I identify with some of the shit that Nunu says, and not all. Because I can feel him on some of that shit. Eat the fish and spit out the bones. What don't apply, you let that shit fly. You can rock with somebody because they believe in certain things, and you can disagree with them when you don't agree with them on certain things. I just think that man creates a lot of his own problems, like fear of a fucking devil when you acting like the damn devil yourself? The hell? Talking about a book that talks against the Pharisees and praising preachers every day that's acting more like the Pharisees in the churches today. What fucking human being needs a fucking private airplane? What one man needs to fly his family across the sky alone while millions are down here struggling and starving? That's heresies. And y'all motherfuckers sit up and praise that shit every day and clown people for not paying tithes. But you won't clown people for not paying, sending some money to fucking UNICEF. Or building a well in Africa. Or feeding some starving babies. No. Y'all do commentary about the damn Africans and drag them for having damn dirt roads. And then talk about God. It's crazy to me. Like, y'all blow my mind. Y'all blow my mind. What really blows my mind is thinking that you can change people when you can't even change yourself. How in the hell can you think that you can change somebody else and you can't even change yourself? Because once you change, you don't look like that you're trying to change. You don't want to be around it. You don't want to be in his presence. Man, I didn't want to be around. When I was heavily into, and I'm going to say it, my religion, I didn't want to be around people that was speaking negatively about it. And then I'm sitting up trying to change their minds. And no. No. Man. It's kind of like you think it's just hard believing stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. You say you were wrong walking around. You remember walking around with a collecting donate? Yeah. UNICEF. Ain't that a trip? UNICEF. And what's the other one? You get all of these people that's supposed to be helping people in these countries and stuff, and you find out they going in. They having their way. They going in and they having their way with the people in those countries. This world is so sick and so divided. So divided. Listen. I Googled, I think I did it about a week ago. I said, I'm just curious. And I Googled it. I think I did it on different search engines. And I was trying to find out. So I Googled, what is the most... Let me see. I got to look at my history. I Googled, what is the most hate that. Because it was about the Bible and how controversial, not how dang, I cannot get the words out because I really want to tell y'all. But anyway, the Bible is the book that has the most denominations. It says the Bible is the number one book that has the most denominations for any spiritual writing, any scriptural writing or anything like that. And it has divisive um the most divisive amount of supporters. Like the people that follow Christianity, everybody, all of the religions differ in so many different ways and they believe in so many different things. So they're saying that the Bible was one of the most confusing books to interpret because it can be interpreted so many different ways and twisted in so many different ways. And we are always saying that thing about confusion. Their religion divides so much. How did they keep us in slavery? By dividing us. You sell off the mamas from their babies, the husbands from their wives. You separate the families. You divide them. In order to weaken the structure, you divide them in order to enslave them. Because when there's unity, like the Tower of Babel, I never understood that. Why would a God that wanted its people to unite get mad? Now, I know that they say, oh, it was paganism and they was worshiping gods and they was doing it, but why separate all of your people that were uniting? They were saying that they were trying to reach the heavens. And they have all of these theories as to why the Tower of Babel, why God separated the people through language, like separated the language. But the story is so confusing. He said that is one of the reasons you speak. Yeah. Religion is a separator. Religion is a separator. Like if it's just, if you just believe that it's one God, then you preaching different stories. God has a chosen people, and most of the Christians think that they are part of the chosen people. I mean, all 45,000 denominations of them think that they're the chosen people. If that ain't confusion, I don't know what the hell is. If that's not confusion on the most grand scale, and it's all over the world, biblical confusion. Everybody thinks that they're the ones that's going to heaven, that they're the chosen people. Even the ones that don't believe in Jesus, that Jesus was the Messiah. All Muslims think that they're going there. Don't they think that they're going there? Like everybody thinks that their religion is the religion that's going to lead them to the promised land, whatever that is. And y'all saying that God created this, but man created religion. But you're part of a religion that believes that it is the only and best religion because it was man-made. It's not even biblical. Christianity and, being a Christian is not even biblical. So it's clearly man-made. So that's what's so confusing. And the Tower of Babel is so confusing. Like you separate these people because they were building this tower to reach to the heavens so they could be admired or they could be remembered. They could be remembered. They wanted to leave a legacy or something. They building a tower to lead to the heavens and so they can touch the clouds and touch God. And then God comes down and says, "Nah, y'all getting too close to heaven and you're getting too cocky." And but you're God. Like how could any human scare God into saying, "No, you're getting close to the heavens"? What? How can humans that are building a tower that's supposed to lead to heaven scare God and he just splits them? Y'all, he just splits them. He said, "No, no, no. Y'all work too well together. You getting too much done. You're being too prosperous and it's too much unity." And it says it in that scripture. You have united, and it was kind of like, what? Isn't that what unity is supposed to be? Isn't that what how nations, the right nations are built? Isn't that how communities thrive when they work together? It seems like everything is designed to push people apart because the people together can never be slaves. A people united can never be slaves. Mm-mm. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion, though. I can't even believe it's what time is it? 2:45. Shoot, I gotta get up. Y'all, Easter is almost here. It's almost here. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna say what I was gonna say. Oh Lord. Y'all, I'm about to get up off of here because I'm getting sleepy. And I know I've said too much already. So before I close this live out, I'm gonna say to Vaughn, congratulations on your baptism because it's a wonderful thing. I believe it is. And to Bam, stay strong, you know. Just stay strong, girl. That's all I can say, because baby, I done probably said too much already. It seemed like everybody looking for, well, not even everybody. It just seemed like certain people just looking for just, it's just such a, oh. I was watching Philly Phil before I came live. She was talking about Dr. Umar. CMA was in the chat. He he been talking a little shit about them people over there and stuff, and they've been going back and forth. And I was thinking to myself, actually, I was thinking about this today because all of this stuff kind of like popped off here recently. I had seen a, uh, somebody sent me a screenshot of a video that was posted, and it had my name in Chubb's chat, and I was saying hi to Chubb. So apparently somebody was trying to say that I have made up a Adrian Slade's troll account or something. And I sat back and I thought, I said, it never ceases to amaze me that when you give people like everything that they ask for, like they still want more. I think I need to get off of here, because I don't even need to be talking about this, because I don't say nothing about none of them. None of them. And nobody's going to control where I go or whose account I talk, because I'm not one of the sheep. Don't get it twisted. Bitch, I don't fear you. None of you motherfuckers. That's what I want. Just because I have shifted my gears, I want to let I don't fear. This is the energy that I need right now. I need. You know what I'm saying? I don't fear. Listen. Y'all still doing your same old disgusting shit over there. I don't know why it's a surprise to anybody. I don't know why it's a surprise to anybody, but I want to say this. Everybody, no matter who you are, no matter whether I like what you say, don't like what you say, or whatever, everybody got a right to say what the fuck they want to say on their goddamn platform. They got a right to use their platform to shout and scream, cuss a motherfucker out, or pray for a bitch. They have that right. And then everybody should be okay, not even okay. But they should understand that it's going to come with some sort of backlash from the people that you were actually talking to. But this shit gets so fucking weird when you don't even have to talk about a motherfucker. You don't even have to be mentioning a motherfucker. You ain't even thinking about a motherfucker, and they make any fucking thing that you say about them and try to pull you in. And you'll be a fool if you continue to relinquish your power. It's foolish. It's childish. It's repetitive, and it's redundant. And if you can't see how the Bible from biblical times, listen, how many thousands of years are we talking about? 2,000-3,000 years or something like that? Thousands of years. Thousands of years since these events have taken place, and they are mimicking everything that happens over and over and over again. Everything. Even the books talk about it. Daddy's still handing their babies up to the hood to be messed around with. And the daddies was doing it back in the biblical days too. Men still falling down drunk and getting naked. Shit just getting worse now because we got the internet and social media and all of that other stuff, and information flying at the speed of light. We don't have to get on donkeys and camels and horses and shit and spread the news, which is words, not even scriptures. Because a lot of the things that we're talking about, they didn't even a lot of the things that people that we're talking about, they didn't even have the ability to pass information the way that we do. And most of it was oral information. It wasn't even written down. How can you put thousands and thousands and thousands of years of life, change, tragedy, growth, the earth changing? How can you put all of that into 66 books in a book that you can carry around in your hand? How's that possible? Oh, hey, Joy. I'm talking about the Bible because of Vaughn. Because of Vaughn. I ain't gonna lie. Blame Vaughn. Don't blame Bam. Blame Vaughn. She the one that had me like all into this conversation. Like, y'all see how Vaughn, like how she is like this, I don't know, like she can just like move from chat to chat effortlessly. You know, everybody likes Vaughn, you know? I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. So, yeah. But yeah, Joy, I've been thinking about you too. Yeah. You're a strong one too. Yeah, Easter. I wanna religion is to faith like hate is to race. Yeah. Yeah. And Blue, you know what? And you might not even be in here long because you typed that a minute ago. That's a wonderful statement. She said religion is to faith like hate is to racism. That's deep. That's deep. You know, and shout out to Miss Alice. Miss Alice been doing her thing too. Like, I gotta say, it's some people out here that you really, really, you know, you sense that anointing on. You know, she's one of them. You know, so that's all I want to say. I ain't going into no. I ain't trying to make nobody else feel any type of way either. So please don't take it like that. I'm only speaking about the people that I actually watch. So, oh, so yeah, so I was supposed to be this troll, this Adrian troll, right? Y'all know I had to get back to this. I was supposed to be this Adrian troll. So anyway, like put my name, put my image up there and make your own narrative and make it about me and all of that weird shit that you do. Like all of that shit you doing over there is weird. All of it. Like all it, but it's not even weird in a unfamiliar way. It's weird that anybody still gives a fuck about what any of us say. That anybody gets an audience or that anybody gets an ear because all of this shit is so fucking redundant and everybody's fucking heard it. Yeah. Everyone should be able to express their understanding. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I'm not trying to sound arrogant. I know that. Can't nobody take my voice away from me. I just decided not to use it for now and to be more observant. And it's really teaching me a lot. It's teaching me that, like, how stupid all of this is. Like, how asinine. I was thinking, like, y'all know that, no shade to Alec. Alec is a child with special needs. And you got a man that's 46 years old that comes for him with the most a child. And people laugh at it and cheer him on. Like, the shit that happens on here is disgusting. And anybody who's actually looking for something higher, I don't even know why anybody would even watch it. Anybody would even watch it. Like, and then I question myself all the time, like, girl, like, you did this for this long. It's, yeah, nobody can take your voice. And you shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to use it. You shouldn't. Motherfuckers be like, you scared, you scared. Scared of what? Hearing the same shit I done heard 50,000 times from the same person. What am I supposed to be scared of? What am I supposed to be afraid of? To hear the same read, the same roast, the same dragon from the same person that I done heard it from for 5 fucking years? Fuck out of here. Y'all. And I'm supposed to be done play somebody. Y'all, I need to shut the fuck up, bro. Let me shut up. I got an email from somebody's motherfucking moderator. I ain't even respond to the shit. I was like, bitch, fuck you emailing me for? And the only reason I even saw the damn email, and I was starting to tell Bam this earlier when I was talking to her, is because Bam got an email and she was like, check your email because, you know, that's the only reason I saw the fucking email. Because I don't even check my email like that. And then I saw this, I'm like, who the fuck is this? I was like, I know you fucking lying. I know you fucking lying. I was like, these rolls are crazy. Anything to make me a part of something. I ain't even gonna go into detail about what the damn email said, but anything to try to pull you into something, and it's your decision whether or not you're gonna go. Cause can't nobody force you to do nothing. This is the internet. The fuck they gonna do? Reach to the goddamn computer? Can't no. Girl, you got motherfuckers crying like babies, begging, can barely fucking walk, and talking about somebody scared. Ooh. Mm-mm. Let me stop, cause I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this publicly. Uh, Anybody from over there? Because the people who need to know this, because I ain't saying no names. I ain't giving no free promotion, right? Right? I got plans for you. Anybody don't think it's sweet. Don't come over here. Don't hit my email. I don't give no fucks about whatever you got going on over there. Keep it over there. It ain't got shit to do with me. You understand me? Ain't got a motherfucking thing to do with me. And now you see that obsession is real, ain't it? Y'all, I'm about to get off of here before I say too much. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful rest of y'all night, and bye.